The farmer case hearing is underway in the Supreme Court. The CJI has said, and I quote, "We recognize fundamental right to protest against a law. There is no question of curtailing it. We can look at it from the point of view that it should not result in damage to anybody's life. We recognize that the farmers have a right to protest, but we are in the mode of protesting." To which the petitioner's lawyer has said, and I quote, "The government that a person calling for the protest will identify himself who can be held accountable for the damages so that an amorphous group of people will not disappear." Unquote. The CJI says that they support the formation of a committee to resolve the standoff. Anand Patel joining us for the very latest. Anand, very important observation by the Supreme Court recognizing the right to protest against one particular law, and absolutely something that they have attested right there, with the CJI going on to say that they recognize that the farmers have a right to protest, and at the moment what looks like is coming from the Supreme Court is the committee formation to resolve the standoff.
Yes, yes. And importantly, Chaiti, as you were saying, the Supreme Court's stand towards the entire farmers' protest, which has been going on for some 21 days now, is sympathetic towards the farmer. You see the petitioner trying to argue the case that it's the rights of the citizens who are being impinged upon, and they're not getting the essential commodities. The supplies are being blocked because the farmers are sitting at the border. So again, the Supreme Court said that they cannot stop and curtail the rights to protest by the farmers. Of course, the Supreme Court has also maintained that while the farmers' protest, it needs to be looked into the aspect that whether the protest is causing some kind of harm to the life and affecting the normal life. So that aspect is very much in the mind of the Supreme Court, and this will play out when the Supreme Court gives its verdict. As of now, what we can see, it's heading towards a committee, an expert committee, an independent committee of sorts, to which both the Union of India and also the farmers will represent and speak to, and then the committee will send its report to the Supreme Court. So that is what the middle ground is being worked out. Importantly,
when the petitioner's lawyer mentioned that the government must have a protocol that a person who is calling for a protest, there should be one person who should be made accountable so that an amorphous bunch of people do not just disappear. What did the court observe when the petitioner's lawyer made this particular argument?
Well, Chaiti, the petitioner has been saying that there are a number of people who are, a part of this protest. So to that, the Supreme Court has said, asked the centre to identify the leaders of these protesting groups so that they can also be called to the Supreme Court and asked to present their viewpoints. So clearly, the Supreme Court is, as of now, trying to be sympathetic towards the entire protest, entire agitation. It has refused to ask the farmer organizations to vacate and, end the protest. Though it has also said, given this kind of a leeway to the centre and the petitioner, that yes, we need to also look into the aspect that it does not, affects normal life. So the protest will continue in all likelihood, we can say at this point in time, but the farmers might be asked to either, remove the blockade or shift the site of protest. This is what looks like as of now from the arguments. An independent committee is definitely coming, to which both the...
And very interestingly, the court has also mentioned that the farmers can go ahead and protest and the cops cannot blockade or disallow the protest to even take place. So the farmers have every right to protest at the moment, just that perhaps Supreme Court is taking the cognizance of the fact that there should be no violence on the protest site.
That's right.
And Anand, if you could also tell us a little more on how the farmers and what they plan now in light of what has transpired in the Supreme Court. Is it too soon to ask you this question?
Yes, Chaiti, if you see the kind of protest which has panned out so far, the farmers are not budging from their stand. We've had 6 rounds of talk, the last one with the Home Minister himself, who tried to assure the farmers that, look, this is what is on the table. The government is ready to give in to your demands of amendments into the laws which were passed by the Parliament. Remember, Chaiti, we were all reporting here when the bills were passed in the Parliament. In the Lok Sabha, it went peacefully because the government had the numbers. But in the Rajya Sabha, it was pandemonium. But despite all the ruckus, the bills went through. And now we are seeing a stalemate of sorts with the farmers now who are there at the borders. They have made their plans very clear. They are talking to the government in terms of yes or no. And this is what played out in the Supreme Court as well. When the petitioner said that, it's a repeal or no repeal kind of a situation, to which the farmers, are clearly saying that they want the 3 farm laws to be withdrawn. So that the government is not willing to do, and that is the reason why it has resulted in a stalemate, and the protests are going on for 21 days. And that is the reason now we see the Supreme Court coming into the picture and trying to resolve dispute. We all need to see and watch out as to when the Supreme Court calls the leader to them and ask them to present their viewpoints, and whether the farmers will accept this Supreme Court mediated talks with an independent committee in which both the centre and the farmers put in their views. Importantly here, the name of P. Sainath has come in from the Supreme Court. He might be part of this committee, and Sainath has been sympathetic to the farmers' cause so far.
And also, Anand, one more flash that is across our screens at the moment, which is coming in from the Supreme Court, is that the Supreme Court has also gone ahead in the same breath and observed that you can protest, but you have no right to blockade a city. So in this particular light, we do know that the farmers are protesting on the borders of the national capital. Is there any kind of a decision taken to move them to another designated spot at the moment?
Well, from the arguments, Chaiti, if you look, it seems likely that the Supreme Court might ask the farmer leaders to first come to the Supreme Court, present their case, and then the Supreme Court might ask them to shift their protest to some other site so that, the normal traffic resumes. For 21 days, over, 3 weeks, we are seeing the National Highway 1, which connects from Punjab, Haryana to Jammu Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. The commodities which come from these places, particularly Himachal, the vegetables which come from Himachal, they are blocked because of the highway blockade. And it's the people of NCR who are facing this, wrath of this entire agitation. The essential commodities prices are rising, prices of vegetables are rising. Despite a new potato crop which has already come in the mandis, Chaiti, the residents of Delhi are still paying 50 rupees for the potatoes. So clearly, what the petitioner is trying to say here is that, look, because of this agitation, because of this blockade, the essential commodities are being blocked, the supplies are running short, and that is the reason why the prices are going up, inflation is going up, and the residents of NCR are facing a problem. Resolve this issue quickly, as soon as you can, because there is a stalemate, and that is the reason why.
And Anand, the all-important question here, and of course the Supreme Court is talking about and hearing this particular petition in part only with regards limited to the protests and the farmers' agitation at the moment. What about the validity of the new farm laws, which is at the crux of the reason why the farmers are protesting?
Well, that will need to be taken care of once the committee is set up. It will be interesting to see as to who are the members of the committee. The first name which has sprung up is P. Sainath. He's a very famous agro-journalist. He's been an expert in these kinds of issues, and he's been sympathetic to the cause of the farmers. So it remains to be seen as to who are the other members of this independent committee which will be set up by the Supreme Court. That will be very crucial, Chaiti, because if people like Sainath will be there, definitely they've been asking from day one to scrap these laws. So government might have, a tough time ahead if, experts like Sainath are part of the committee. It remains to be seen as who are the other members. Definitely, the Supreme Court now wants this issue to be resolved amicably, because a one-on-one talk between the government and the farmers is not leading us to anywhere. And that is the reason why, a third-party kind of a mediation, third-party intervention is required at this point in time to resolve this imbroglio, which has been going on for some 21 days now.
That's right. So very crucial observations that are coming in at the moment, Anand, from the CJI, and the CJI has also been explicitly clear that cannot blockade a city. Do not turn this into a violent protest, but you have every right to go ahead and protest. And the CJI has also said support formation of this particular committee as well, to which we're still to get a reaction from the farmers and what they feel. They would, Anand, since it is the Supreme Court observing this, they would have to comply, even if the formation of the committee is not the most viable option from their standpoint. It is an observation which is coming in from the Supreme Court.
Yes, it remains to be seen as to what the farmers would say to this, because what we can see from the arguments which are taking place inside the court at the moment is that the Supreme Court has asked the centre to provide the names of the farmer organizations and their leaders who are part of this agitation. Looks like the Supreme Court might issue a summon to them once it has the list of the farmer organizations and their leaders, so that they can also come to the Supreme Court and present their case, present their viewpoint as to why, their issue has been unresolved for such a long time despite 6 rounds of talks which have taken place. So clearly, it looks like from the arguments, the Supreme Court is of the mind that it will definitely summon the farmer leaders, also making them a party to this entire petition which is being heard by the apex court.
And this is very interesting to note that now this is a precedence in terms of there was a lot of flack coming in the way of the farmers who are protesting as well from different political factions. Then we saw, different political factions even going ahead and hijacking these protests, but that's different. But all the flack that was coming in as far as these protesters are concerned, all of that has been put to rest because now the Supreme Court has identified and recognized the right of protesting farmers.
Well, this is what the farmer organizations have been protesting about. They have written a clear letter to the government addressed to the Secretary Agriculture that the manner in which there are attempts from the government quarters to defame the protest and the agitation by, aligning them to certain sections which have been, taking anti-government stands. Clearly, the letter which was written by the farmer organizations, it asked the government to stop at once the kind of defamation which was going on from the government side. And farmers have taken a strong exception to that. The only gaffe which I see here, Chaiti, was on the Human Rights Day, UN Human Rights Day, when one of the factions of the farmer union organizations held a protest at Tikri border with some of the pictures, some of the photographs which were shown there and during the protest of the people who are languishing in the jail or facing charges during the Delhi riots and the Shaheen Bagh protest.
I'm sorry about that particular interruption right there, Anand, but this is something which is very important. When the Supreme Court has gone ahead and observed that there has to be a committee which is going to be formed to resolve this particular issue, how has the Supreme Court decided on who will be a part of this particular committee? Because the farmers may be opposed to some people, the centre may be opposed to some people. This needs to be an independent committee, and the members of the committee needs to be approved by all.
Well, approved by all, we can't say as of now, but the 3 judges led by the Chief Justice himself, definitely they are the ones who will be deciding as to who all will be part of this committee. They will definitely, use their jurisprudence while coming up with the names of this committee. They've already suggested one name, P. Sainath. He's an authority on agrarian issue. We all know that. He's been, part of many debates and discussions on this issue right since the beginning. So one name we know as of now, but the other names definitely, it's up to the judges to, apply their minds on the entire issue and bring in, people from different walks of life who, can be an authority in mediating between the farmers and the centre, asking them and making them, to come to a talking table, a negotiating table, because we've seen that the talks between the government and the farmers have completely broken. It's a complete stalemate. So the names should be such who are an authority on this issue, and they are able to bring both these warring sides to talking tables and resolve this issue as soon as possible.
All right, leave it at that. Thanks, Anand, for that big breaking story that is coming. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this particular story, which is the Supreme Court going ahead and allowing the farmers to go ahead and protest, recognizing it as the fundamental right of these farmers. In the meanwhile, more breaking news coming in right there.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.